Welcome. Welcome to Candid Creoles, where we elevate and celebrate Haitian excellence and friends. Today we have with us Terry Cadet, and Terry is a guest on our series, The Emerging Leaders. Terry is one of the emerging leaders. That is, as you know, we have the emerging leaders who are either Haitian born or of Haitian descent. And Terry was Haitian born, is Haitian born. So Terry is our guest today. Welcome, Terry.
Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. Terry is a Haitian American currently living in Chicago. And Terry spent the first 9 years of his life living in Haiti. And he moved to South Florida, Southeast Florida, when he was about 11. And when he was about 11, his father passed away, and leaving Terry as the man of the family. And this event Terry shares with us, shaped who he is today. At 15 years old, Terry's mom, Maggie, and his sister, Emily Ann, encouraged Terry to live abroad as an exchange student, which led him to choose Croatia. And I'm going to ask him why Croatia, of all the countries that he could have gone to. That was an interesting choice. And living abroad in a different country all alone was an amazing experience that helped Terry grow a lot. And after graduating high school, he attended the University of Florida, and he received his Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering. Terry said it was a difficult path, but it sets him up for financial success. And throughout college, Terry did 3 internships for technology companies and graduated with a full-time job offer from Texas Instruments. Congrats on that. That was
Thank you.
really, really great. That was really great. And Terry, after 2 years at Texas Instruments as an account manager, and Terry is now working and making a difference at Microsoft. And he says he loves the job. So I cannot wait to hear more about that. And Terry loves challenging himself. I can see that. I posted one of the pictures that I've chosen was one where you went skydiving. And that's actually something that I've been looking into. So I want to hear more about that experience too. I
You
think it's
should do it.
fascinating. Oh, I am going to do it. I just don't have the date set yet. And I think it's a fascinating experience. That's my experience. So welcome, Terry.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So tell us, I know you were born in Haiti. Usually at the beginning, I like to ask people what's their connection with Haiti. But as I shared, you were born in Haiti. Can you tell us a little bit about your life in Haiti at the beginning?
Absolutely. So I was actually born in Coral Springs, Florida, but as soon as I was born, we went to Haiti. So I was raised in Haiti up until I was 9 years old. I went to elementary school there. French is my first language, Creole is my second language. But then in 2005, Haiti got a little too dangerous, and so we went to the States. From there, I lived in Florida, and like you mentioned, I went to Croatia for a year, 11 months to be exact, where I actually went to school there. I lived with a exchange family, so an actual family, and I slept in their son's bedroom since he himself was living abroad. So it was a great experience. So my ties to Haiti are exactly what you said. My entire family is from Haiti. Both my mom and my dad are Haitian, and Haiti is, all I know. And Haiti and Florida, that's all I know.
Yeah. And now you're in Chicago.
And now I'm in Chicago. Because I work remotely since the coronavirus, I've had the opportunity to live wherever I want to. So for a few months, I was living in Tampa, Florida. Prior to that, I was living in Michigan for my old job. And now my girlfriend is actually getting her master's degree at the University of Chicago. So I'm
Mhm.
here in Chicago with her. And then in about 2 months, I'll be moving to Seattle to start be going to the office a little bit more often. I still can work remote, but I want to be able to see my team here and there. And so that's why I'm moving to Seattle. Mhm.
And you work at Microsoft as an account manager, correct?
Exactly. So my title is customer success account manager, and so I have customers that I work with, and I am their technical advisor when it comes to cloud services.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
mhm.
That's interesting. Yeah, so yeah, when I heard that you lived in Chicago, I wanted to know if you heard about oh, what's that guy's name that they call the father of Chicago? I sent that information to. I know it's I'm gonna get it to you. Hold on.
You did send it to me. I haven't looked into it yet, but I want to know where that statue is because I want to go visit it.
Yeah, I was in Chicago recently, and unfortunately, I did not have a chance to see it. And I wanted to because I was with my children. His name is Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable, and they have a statue of him in Chicago. So you got to take a picture and send it to me or post it on
All right.
Facebook. I know
Okay,
you
I
will.
will.
I know you will. That's good. That's good.
I'll make
So
a note of
why
that.
um, why Croatia? I was always surprised when I heard because your mom and I are friends that you went to Croatia. Why did you choose Croatia?
So my sister did her exchange and she went to Italy. So she's 3 years older than me, which means she did it 3 years before me. At first, I did not want to go because as a 15-year-old, I thought I had life figured out. And I was just like, no, I want to do this, this, and that in my life. And so I don't have time to live abroad. My sister convinced me otherwise. My mom convinced me otherwise. And so when I went through the application process, there were only a few countries that accepted people that were younger than 16 years old.
Ah,
So I was applying at 14, but I was supposed to be going at 15, and only a few countries accepted 15-year-olds.
okay.
Croatia was one of them. I wanted to go to a Spanish-speaking country because living in Florida, it only makes sense to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
And then they told me I was going to Croatia. At the time, I did not know what Croatia was, where it was, or anything about it. But
Mhm.
my advisor did tell me, he said, Terry, you're going to have the best time of your life. Just trust me.
Did you?
And I had the best time of my life.
Okay.
I was going to school there. Um, and as much as I'd like to say I learned a lot at school, I can say I enjoyed myself a lot at school. I made a lot of lifelong friends. I learned to be very independent because for an entire year, my mom wasn't there, my sister wasn't there. So I had no one telling me what to do, when to come home. And so it was up to me to make the right decisions because every decision I make leads to, consequences that I have to face on my own. So it made me very independent and it helped me mature and it helped me become more globally aware. And so best opportunity ever. And I'm very thankful for my mom, and my sister for making me do it.
Yeah. So it was a good thing that you listened to the advice and did it.
I encourage anyone who is between 15 and 18 to do this. It's a very cheap program and it sounds expensive, but it's really not. Um, and it's life changing.
Yeah, because it builds your character away from home, and which means like you only had to rely on yourself
Mhm.
and mom is not there. And I remember you were not even allowed to speak with mom every day. That's how the program works, right?
That's how the program works, but sadly for my mom, I just call whenever, and so it could go a month, and she has to call me.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, because when I remember I was considering it for my son and I said, oh, we cannot even talk to the kid as often as we want to. So that was an interesting program. Well, I'm glad you had a good time and you get to learn and you still have friends that you keep in touch there. You keep in touch with over there?
Absolutely. I have friends who are getting married now, who are telling me to come to their weddings. My host family and I are still very much in touch. So my host brother, who when I was there was 7 years old, he's 17 years old now, and it's like I'm meeting him again for the first time. So we're getting close to each other again, and he actually wants to come visit me next year, and I want to go visit them next year. So absolutely, it's great to have friends from all over,
Mhm.
because now I have a place to stay when I go to Croatia. Oh,
And yes, and you have people that you know to hang with, that you can hang out with.
absolutely.
Yeah. So what about the language? I know it was a hard one.
The language is very, yeah, no, the language is very difficult. I speak of a little Croatian now, but I'm not in any way, shape, or form fluent in Croatian. It's a very challenging language to learn. My sister went to Italy and she learned Italian in 2 months. Now, she has a brain for languages, so maybe it
Yeah.
would have taken me 4 months to learn Italian, but
Yeah.
after a year of Croatian, I still did not speak Croatian fluently, you know.
But you can, what can you say, what can you share with us today in Croatian?
O kako si, ja se zovem Teri, ja imam 25 godina, ja živim u Chicago, ja volim hrana I pive. So basically, I just introduced myself. Hi, my name is Terry. I'm 25. I live in Chicago. I love food and beer, you know.
Oh my, I did not get one word out of this.
Like
If it
if,
was Italian, if I was speaking with your sister, I would
mhm.
have probably understood a couple words. That was completely different.
Well,
Yeah.
French is a Romance language, right? So
Yeah.
like if you speak French, it's easier to learn Italian and Spanish.
Yes,
But
definitely.
then Croatian is a Slavic language, so it sounds
Yeah.
like Russian, you know, and
Yes.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
rough.
But that's good that you kept you still, I'm sure like if you go when you go back to visit, it will be easy for you to catch up with the language.
Yeah, so I went back after my first year of college, and after about a couple of days there, everything that I had learned kind of came back, just being in the environment again, hearing people talk. So I expect it'll be something similar if I go back and when I go
Yeah.
back.
That's full immersion definitely is the key with any language for you
Hmm.
to get it as fast as you can. That's great. So how do you like being with Microsoft? Tell us about your position there. Because I know you had a few choices because I know your mom and she shared with me that you had a few choices, but you wanted to go with Microsoft. Tell us why and what
Uh,
what do you like so much about it?
so I really, at first, Microsoft was a really appealing job because it's Microsoft, right? It's one of the
Yeah.
biggest companies in the world, and it has some of the most influence. Since I started working at Microsoft, it's gone a little deeper than that. I love Microsoft, and I don't say that lightly. I say that because they have a culture that really encourages work-life balance, which to me is
Mhm.
very important. They have a culture um, that really encourages time off for your well-being.
Mhm.
So, you know, they give you not only sick days, but they give you mental health days. They're very conscious of the fact that, you know, we're all humans and that everyone has good days. On
Yeah.
top of that, they have this growth mindset where
Mhm.
they don't expect you to know everything. They don't think, oh, we just hired this person and so therefore we expect them to be the expert. They expect their employees to be hungry and eager to learn, and as long as you're learning, you're succeeding. So that's what I love about Microsoft. It's not an easy company to get into, but I would highly recommend this company to anyone. They also, because they encourage you to grow, they tell you that, you know, like my manager's constantly asking me like, what do you want to do next? You know, like if you want to, like, if do you want to leave this team? Do you want to grow? Like, how do you want to grow? Because typically a manager tries to keep the good talent to themselves, but instead my manager actually wants to figure out how can she help me grow to reach a new position. And I really appreciate that. I love my team. I love the company. I love the culture. Yeah. So that's why Microsoft. And having been at two companies now, definitely Microsoft is where I see myself for some time.
Huh. That is so fascinating. I mean, so valuable because you said they have, you got to be hungry. And I love that. That reminds me of a video of Les Brown. I don't know if you've heard of Les Brown. He's a motivational speaker. He's been for years, and he has that talk speech that he gave, and that's all he talked about. That really stuck with me. Like you got to be hungry in life because if you're not hungry in life, where are you going to end up, right? And then the fact that at Microsoft you have to be a learner And being a learner, it kind of like stuck with me the way you say it. It's like you got to be anti-fragile, because when you're anti-fragile, you really know there is no failure. There is only you just learn. If you did something like it didn't work, like you just said, they're not
Hmm.
expecting you to know everything. So if you did something and then you didn't do it well, you actually just learn. You didn't fail at it.
Exactly. And they say just that, right? Like if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough, If you're
Yeah,
not pushing yourself, if you're not trying new things, then you're just staying stagnant, and that's not good either. So
yeah,
try, fail, and try again. And another thing is be open to feedback, because typically when people get feedback, they immediately get very defensive, trying to prove that their method was best. While like, put your guard down, put your pride away, be open to feedback, because that's the only way to grow. You know, if you feel like that feedback is not adequate, then okay, at least you listen to it. But there's always areas where you can take feedback and apply it to your life to become a better person, because that's what you want, right? To grow.
yeah. We all here to grow. Just like a tree starts small, it grow. Like we start as baby, we grow. But what happens is we get to a certain age and then we're afraid to fail. We're afraid of being wrong. And I know in our culture, back home, we're afraid of being embarrassed.
Hmm.
And so people rather not try because they're afraid to be embarrassed, because they see if they see not reaching what they tried for as a failure instead of as a learning lesson. And if you are not failing, like you just said, it's because you're staying in your comfort zone and you're not growing. And your comfort zone is just keeping you wherever you've been in the past.
That's why you have to stay hungry.
That's why you have
If
to stay hungry.
hmm
I love that you're staying hungry. Keep going. It's I as I was reading a book about the this guy. I know you studied it. The book wasn't about him, but he was mentioned in the book, and his name is, you probably heard of him, Mike Lazaridis or Lazaridis. He is the father of he's the one who studied the Blackberry.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he went to school for the same degree as you did, electrical
Mhm.
engineering, and he quit. He did not graduate. He quit right before he was about to finish. So, and I was saying, well, wow, when I read that about him in the book and I research on him, because when I read about something interesting in a book, I like to research more. And I researched on him and I said, oh, that's exactly what Terry learned. But Terry did graduate, so it's I said you definitely chosen a great field, and he was even awarded an Oscar for creating. And I took notes because I wanted to share that with you. He was even awarding an Oscar for the invention of a digital reader barcode for film editing.
Really?
Yes,
Now,
yes,
you said he invented BlackBerry,
yes.
like the phone company, right?
BlackBerry, the mobile device. BlackBerry,
Yeah.
the mobile, the engineering side of it, if I could say
Okay,
that.
okay. So he
Yeah.
wasn't the actual like owner of the company or anything. He was the designer, right?
He was, you know what? You're asking me great question, and I should have
No,
gotten more information. Why
the
you
reason
ask?
I asked because BlackBerry is still a company, but BlackBerry has failed, you could say. And the reason is that they never innovated. They were at the top of their food chain, but they never evolved to meet a growing market. That's why Apple came in and said, give us all your customers, because Apple changed the way things were done. So I think it's interesting because BlackBerry never innovated to the point where like they actually died out. And now who owns a BlackBerry?
Yes, it's a dead business. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because as you were talking, I'm remembering that I did learn more. And actually, the reason he was mentioned in the book was not just to glorify what he did. The book was about how you think matters, right? And it was about that he was so stuck in his old ways. That's why BlackBerry failed, because when the technology is being it's transforming, certain people, just like Blockbuster versus Netflix, right? And very often or too often, some people think what they have is going to go forever, and they fail to adapt to the new world that's always is evolving and innovating. And that's why he was mentioned in the book. After they mentioned his success, like because Blackberry was at the top and then Blackberry dropped. And that's what they say, he did not adapt to the world that he was, the technology was leading to.
Exactly, and it's sad, but it's true, right? The saying "you can't teach old dogs new tricks," that's a bad saying. If
That is a bad saying.
you know, because so my mom actually encouraged me to read this book. It's called Limitless. If you haven't read it, definitely read it. It's a really good book. I haven't finished it yet, but I love it. I love what I'm listening to so far, and we put limitations on ourselves, right? So as humans, we in our mind we decide what is and what isn't possible, and then we stick with it. If you keep an
Yes.
open mind, and if you're open to anything, then actually anything is possible. Like, let's be honest, like people have gone to the moon, right? So um you have it as an adult. Adults should also be open to new things, right? So in my previous company, I noticed that some adults, some people who were older than me, were not open to feedback from the younger people. And I think that's very limiting because some people, it doesn't matter what their age, they have great insights. So like people who are older typically don't learn a new language. You know why? Because they feel like, oh, I'm too old for this, or oh, I can't learn a new language. So a way for people to keep growing is and just throw away those those misconceptions of themselves. So
Yeah. And the book that you mentioned, Limitless, it's by Jim Quick. And yes, I am an avid reader. I don't know if your mom told you. I did read. Actually, I told my son to read it because I like to get my son to read. And JC, which your friend with JC, and JC started to read it, and because I was telling him what Limitless was about. Yes, it's definitely a great book to read for whoever is looking for a great book to read. And it's good that you like to read. It's really good because you learn a lot. Because it's that what happened with the BlackBerry happened to so many other companies like Blockbuster versus Netflix. And because unless you move with your time, then you're going to be left behind.
yeah. Now, funny enough, I don't read. So exactly, I know. I don't
I'm not
physically
going to
read.
say anything about that because I'm a reader, but I
I'm
also
not done
know
yet, don't worry. So
that's okay.
yeah, so I don't physically read. It's never been my thing. My mom used to tell me to read books when I was a kid, sure, but like besides books I had to read in college, I don't physically read books because I don't have the patience to just sit down and flip through books. That's not me. I recognize that it wasn't me, but I also recognize that if I don't take in new information, then I'm gonna basically fail at life. And so I went to audiobooks. So I am a huge fan of Audible. I am like when I'm doing the dishes, when I'm going for a walk, when I'm at the gym, I'm listening to an audiobook. So I don't read, but I listen. And
That's fine. That's
mhm,
fine. As long as you find a way. And I tell my son that too, because I have my youngest one who loves to read, and my oldest does not so much. And I said, don't learn to read as mommy does. Audiobooks, I listen to a lot of books too, and sometimes I love to just hold the books in my hand. And
mhm,
if I listen to a book and I really like the subject and I want to basically use it sometime as a textbook, I would purchase the actual book so I can take notes in the book itself. Because I don't like ebooks to do that. I would
mhm.
prefer to have the actual book to do that. So what I tell my son is you don't have to read books sometimes, and there are a lot of summaries of books as well now, and they just shrink what's most important. They shrink the book and put what's most important in just a couple pages or a couple hours or 1 hour book. So you
Hmm.
still get the information. You just don't get the details. I love the details because I think the details are fun because that's how I know about people. It's that's how I learn about that Blackberry guy, Mike
Hmm.
Lazaridis, because they were using him as an example of what not to do, of who not to be, I should say, who not to be, you know? But yeah, so you can always get the information in another format and it's perfect as long as you're getting it.
Exactly, right? As long as you're constantly learning. How you learn, that's up to you to decide.
Yes, yeah, I get that. I get that. So you've been you've traveled a lot. I know
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so tell me about what's your favorite place of all the places that you've gone. I know you've lived in Croatia, but you've visited a lot of places.
Yeah, so luckily for me, my mom worked for American Airlines for
Yeah.
all my life, and because of that, I could travel for free, and that's it's nice. So I've been to Asia, I've been to Europe, I have not been to Africa, but I've been to South America. So my favorite place besides Croatia, or I'll give you two. The first one is I love Barcelona, so I love Spain.
Oh,
I really enjoy my time in Barcelona, but on top of that, I really liked Vietnam. Vietnam was amazing because Vietnam, you had a cool city, but then you also had a lot of nature. And you can have the most amazing day in Vietnam for just $5 US. Like you could live like a king in
good.
Vietnam for $5.
I heard it's really inexpensive in Vietnam. When you went to Vietnam, I know you have a cousin who lives there, right? She
I
does she
used
still she
she
used to live
she
there.
lives in Thailand now.
Okay, so she moved to Thailand. Did you
Hmm.
go when she was living there?
Yeah, I know I did. Did I go? Was she living in Vietnam at the time? Yes. So I went there and I did see her, her husband, and her children. And
Okay.
then soon after that, she moved to Thailand. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, I heard that Vietnam is so inexpensive. I have a cousin who visited and he said he really like you could really have a great life in Vietnam. It's so inexpensive.
So yeah, if you're into the traveling and if you can find a way to generate some like US income, you would live like a king or queen in Vietnam without a problem. It's
Because
awesome.
our money will go so far in Vietnam.
I pulled out a $20 bill, converted to their currency when I was in Vietnam, and the guy looked at me like, I can't break this money. I don't know what to do with this money. Like he was just so shocked. He's like, this
Oh
is like
wow.
my monthly income. So
Mm,
yeah, it was
oh,
that serious.
my.
Yeah, yeah.
That is serious. Oh
Hmm.
wow.
Hmm.
Okay. Wow. So I talking about traveling. So you love Barcelona. What did you like? What did you choose Barcelona as one of your best choice?
Because it's an awesome city, it's by the water, and it's very cultural. So a lot of people from all over the world live in Barcelona. So I don't speak Spanish yet, and so being able to find people who speak English, they have really cool markets, very fun clubs, and very fun beaches. Now, as I'm getting older, I don't care much for clubs, but bars are still fun.
You're
So
still young.
I turned 25 recently. I feel like an old man.
Oh my, Terry, come on. You have a long way to go to feel like
I
an
know.
old man. Yeah, wow. Yeah, because so I'm wondering, well, at 25, was I still going to clubs? I'm trying to think. Where was I? I think I was. I think I was.
It
I was
depends on the
never
scene.
somebody. Hmm?
It depends for me. So if I'm with my guy friends, oh, I'll go to a club anytime. If I'm with my
Mhm.
girlfriend, I'd rather go to a restaurant or like a bar.
Got it. So it depends on who's the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm thinking at 25, I definitely was going with my friends, with my group of friends, and had fun. But I was never one who loves to go out much. So I did go out, but I was never one who was always out. So, but at 25, I was going out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I consider myself a
Clubs.
social introvert because I love my time. I love me time. I love my space. I love my like I hate my phone. I don't know if anyone knows me, they know that I'll respond to them eventually. It's not personal. It's just that I don't like my phone. I think it's too much stimulus. I just like peace. I'm happy to talk to anyone, but
Yeah.
I'm just as happy to stay home and just do nothing. whatever that nothing is with me, whether it's hit the gym, watch TV, whatever it is. I'm very.
Were you always like that as a young kid? Because I've never thought you were a social introvert.
No
I
one
would have
knows
never
it.
thought that about. Yeah, I know. So were you always like that since you were very young? Because you always the life of the party whenever I get to see you.
Hence the social introvert. Like, so I.
I know, but
Mhm.
I would have thought that I would have seen the introvert. I thought you were a social extrovert,
So for
if I
like
can say that.
when I've been to your house, it's always been like, spending the weekends with your kids or like an actual party. So I always had
Yeah,
things to do.
yeah.
But I think I've always been like this. I really do. But I really noticed it when I went to college because that's when I
Mhm.
was just, that's when I really got to get to know myself a little better. But I think I've always been like this. But like I said, I love people. Like I feed off of people's energy. So if people are
Yes.
energetic, I'm energetic. But when I'm home, like I don't have FOMO, like fear of missing out. Like I could care less if everyone else is at the club because I'm just happy to be saving my money, living my best life. Like I'm happy right where I am, and my money's not going to $20 drinks. So
Ah, got it. Very smart with your money. Very smart with your money. No wonder you are where you are. No
I
wonder
try.
you are where you are. And because we attract what we are, I believe we attract the energy that we are is going to bring us back, whatever it is that the energy that we feed. So that's what I believe. And I'm getting some great comments. Emily, your sister, Emily Ann says, "You are an old man at 25," and she's laughing. And then Marie says, "Au grand moun, oui."
Oh,
So they're
Emily,
having
she's
fun.
getting there too. She's about to be 30.
Yeah, they're making fun. They're having fun with you. That's really cool. That's really cool. So you it's really so good that you got to travel so much. Thanks for your mother, the mother's job, I should say. Because traveling, I remember growing up, my dad always used to say traveling is part of your education and you got to travel. You got like I remember when I was little, every summer he would take summer off and then travel the world. And when he comes back home, we were like so happy to hear all of the experiences that he had and he wanted to share with us. I thought that was fascinating, and I got that love as well for traveling. And he started to get us to travel when we became teenagers. So it's really really fascinating because he always said to us, you travel, you get the best of whatever it is that whichever country that you're visiting, and then come home and bring it back. Unfortunately, we cannot go back home at this moment, but we all pray and hope that one day we can. One day we
Absolutely.
can. Yeah, yeah. So, and I know since you've left Haiti, you've been back, right?
Oh yeah, I've been to Haiti many, many times since I've left. Just my the last time I was in Haiti, I think was in 2018. But since then, no.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
okay. And talking about the path that your life took with the electrical engineering degree that you pursued in college, what influenced you to to choose that path, or whom? I don't know.
So when I was choosing my career path, I had nothing in mind. I had nothing that really stuck out to me as something I really wanted to do. Actually, I did. So I had two options, either physical therapy, because I took a class that really got me interested in physiology and kinesiology, I think is what it's called. And so I really thought that being a physical therapist would be fun. Then I looked into it a little bit more and realized that the majority of physical therapists work with the elderly, and the ideal job there would be to being a physical therapist working with athletes. So I thought to myself, pay won't be great and it'll be a very tough environment to succeed at. My dad was an engineer. All of his brothers, well, most of his brothers were engineers. his dad was an engineer, so the idea of being an engineer to me didn't seem far-fetched. And
Mm.
when I was a little kid, I would always break my little remote control cars and just play with it, kind of rewire it a little bit, not knowing what I was doing, but being fascinated by it. And so I just decided electrical engineering. I've never put much thought into like I never doubted, oh, like should I do this? I just said, you know what, I'm gonna do that because there's nothing better that was yelling at me, and I knew that this would be a job. Like I also chose electrical engineering because it's a career path that few people take, which means I will rarely have an issue finding a job. To look at people struggling to find a job, I never want that to be me. And I want to be prepared for anything, right? I want to be able to have enough money to take care of my mom, my sister, my future wife and kids. So that's why I chose it. Hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Like you are very responsible. I remember when I was talking to your mom one day and she said, "You'll never believe what Terry surprised me with today." And she sent me a picture. It was, oh, you sent, what, was it a wallet or was it a purse?
Depends. What are we talking about?
It depends. Okay, I would have to look for the
Is
text.
it was it if it's wallet or purse, I don't think it's any of the above. Was it like her retirement present?
Mm, mm,
No.
I don't know. Maggie, if you can hear us, I know you're watching. They're making me laugh because they're making a bunch of comments here. Like Amy Lee said, "Excuse you, 30."
All
It's
right.
fun. It's a fun conversation. And Maggie, maybe you can post. I know I'm trying to find the photo, but I don't want to get distracted. Well, I will. I'm sure it will come back later at some point. Yeah, I'm trying to look for the photo so I can see what it was because it was like I was like so proud. I said, "Oh my
I got
gosh,
her a belt
all of
once.
you!
Maybe it's the belt.
You got her the belt, and the belt matched something. Was it a purse?"
Oh, I
Or
did not get
she
her the purse.
Okay, she had the purse, and then you matched the belt with the purse. Is that correct?
Not intentionally, but yes, that's correct.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, she was so happy. You made
No,
her so happy.
I
Yeah.
mean, she earned it, right? I mean, she was my
Yes.
mom and my dad for so many years, and you know,
Yes. 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 And
feeding a
she's
feeding a kid isn't cheap.
it's not
So,
cheap. In taking care of children, it is definitely not cheap. That as a mom of three, definitely, I know. And it's not just that is it's not only the money cost, it's the emotional cost, it's the time cost, it's everything because your children, your everything, and then you do so much. It was the retirement present, she said.
yeah, that one for sure.
Yes, yes. That was so awesome. She was so happy. She shared the whole experience with me, and it was beautiful.
I'm
It was
glad she
beautiful.
enjoyed it.
Oh yes, and I enjoyed it through her. I said, "Oh, I'm so proud of him." That was really nice. That was really nice. So where do you see yourself? I don't want to say 5 years because in 5 years you'll be 30. I want to say maybe 10, 20 years from now because you have goals. Based on what you just told me, the character that you have is somebody who's living his life with goals, correct?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes,
So
that's
where do you see
correct.
yourself? Where do you see yourself, let's say 10, 20 years from now?
Good question. So, 10, 20 years from now, I see myself uh, retired from industry. And what I mean by that is I never see myself not working. Like I never see myself physically not doing something with my life. Doesn't matter how old I am because the second you stop working is honestly the second your brain collapses. So that's why I tell my mom all the time, like, get a hobby. So mom, get a hobby.
Yes,
Um,
mom, you hear him. Get a hobby.
so
I just offered her something. So you hear that,
good,
Maggie? Yeah.
accepted.
Hey,
Um,
Terry said accept it.
but so my goal, my life goal is to not have to work for a paycheck, and therefore I want to generate passive income. I've
Mhm.
identified a few ways to do that, which are stocks and real estate. So if I can If I can have rental properties, I'll be able to generate passive income. And from there, if I have enough rental properties, I'll be able to live off of that income. Now, my goal isn't to live off of that income and then quit my day job, but instead to use that money to do something else, whether start my own business or even, stay with my day job, but have more peace of mind. Because it's one thing to work for a company knowing that you have to work for the company. It's another thing to work for a company knowing that you choose to work for the company, where
Yes.
if you want to quit the next day, it doesn't impact the way you live your life. So in
Yes.
10, 20 years, I want to be financially stable, meaning not having to work a day in my life for an extra dollar. Um, 5 years from now, I'm still figuring that out, but right now I'm trying to figure out which path I want to take within Microsoft, because like I mentioned, they do let you kind of create whatever path you want. And so I'm exploring different jobs. Today, actually, I went through the career site to figure out which jobs I'm most interested in. And then I reached out to those hiring managers so that I can understand what qualifications I need to have so that I can actually apply for those jobs between the next 6 months to 2 years. So I do see myself going with Microsoft in the next 5 years. I'm also looking into getting an MBA. And it's a big goal. I'm not committing to it yet. So I don't want to say this on this in this interview and
Everybody's
then
listening, and your family's there posting,
yeah.
answering.
So
And that's going to be on YouTube eventually, by the way. So it's going to be global. So
I
a
know.
commitment.
So I'm interested in
Interested.
the idea
Okay.
of getting
It's
an
not a commitment.
MBA at an
Yeah.
Ivy League. So an MBA at Harvard, an MBA at Stanford, an MBA at MIT are all things that
Japan.
well, after speak, so I actually reached out to someone on LinkedIn who is a Haitian woman, who is actually at Harvard right now getting her MBA. And I asked her,
Okay.
hey, do you have time for an actual meeting? And I'm waiting for her to respond so that we can have a meeting. But she knows a lot of my cousins, and so she's a girl from Haiti who now goes to Harvard. And I don't ever see myself paying for that
So,
Harvard education. I think
yeah,
that is ridiculous,
pricey. It's
but I
pricey.
also don't doubt that I can get a scholarship. You know,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that if I get a good GMAT score, I can get a scholarship and then I could go to that school purely for the network that I'll make. The level of people that I meet will help me a lot in life,
Mhm.
the knowledge that I gain, but also the credibility. Credibility means a lot.
Yes.
Saying that I go to Harvard will be enough to make most people believe in my capabilities, even if I never learned a single thing at Harvard. Just the fact that I
Even if
went.
you just party at Harvard.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
It's so true. Perception is everything.
sadly so.
Perception, yes, perception is key, because when people see you one way, that's it. If you say you went to Harvard, they automatically, because within the first few seconds, people see you based on what is being said and the energy that is being exchanged, then they automatically make an opinion of you. So
Mhm.
if that conversation involves Harvard graduate, they automatically see you differently than they would have if you had said FAU graduate.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why people pay the big bucks to go to Harvard. It's all a
Yeah,
business. It's
it's
all
it's
a
business.
business, you
Yes,
know.
it's business.
So
Yeah, yeah, and they created that persona. Harvard did, for good reasons, and then they capitalize on it big time. But
mhm.
it is true that the education is excellent. Like you said, it's you don't need to go to Harvard to make great things for your life, because you have all those drop out from Harvard, like Facebook. Mark studied Facebook. Zuckerberg studies Facebook, and he dropped out after a year, I believe. But the connection that you made, like you said, is
Mhm.
the mind that you're going to meet. It's really what those Ivy Leagues brings to the table, in my opinion. It's
Yeah,
not, in
absolutely.
addition,
Mhm.
to the education.
You do not need a Harvard MBA to be successful. No doubt about that. You don't need it, but what you do need is drive, right? You need to be able to wake up every
Be
morning and
hungry,
you have to be hungry. So,
like you said.
yeah. So again, if I don't get a scholarship, I'm not going because I don't believe in spending that much money on just an education because then I'm in debt. I could have used all that money and invested it in properties and to start my, to get to my life goal a little faster. But I think that as an Haitian American who worked for Microsoft, ideally, if I get a good GMAT score, I don't see why I won't get a scholarship. I have to at least believe that it's possible. So
Yes, and if you believe it's possible, then you'll find a way. And if you don't
exactly,
find a way, you'll make the way.
exactly,
That's how it works. That's how it works. And when you have that belief, it may not come to you the way you expect it to come, but it will come. It will come. The goal doesn't have to be changed when you make it a committed goal, because right now it's an interest, but the path may change, but you will reach it at
yeah.
some point.
And I'm religious, so I always say, God will help me figure it out.
He will make the way for you. Either you find the way or he'll make the way for you. Totally.
Absolutely.
Totally. I believe that. And it's and your contribution, you definitely is so eager to contribute back to the world, which is why you want to keep growing and better yourself. And that's really admirable. That's really
Absolutely.
admirable. Yeah, that's great. You did good, Maggie. I know she's watching. So it's really a pleasure to speak with you, Terry, and have this conversation. And I want to say I so appreciate that you accepted my invitation, because once a month I would like, my intention is to have an emerging leader and on this platform, Candid Creoles, so they can share their experience in life and inspire somebody else who may have doubts. That's
Well,
the reason.
then your next person's on this call. Like, don't let my sister fool you. She's accomplished quite a bit. You ask her what she's been up to lately. She's killing it.
I have already contacted her. I'm just waiting for a return call.
Oh, I see.
So talk to her.
I'm absolutely certain that she would have a lot to share with the younger generation.
Yes, yes. Your mom shared that with me as well. She's very proud of both of you. So it is excellent. And as you know, like I said, I shared this the Emerging Leader series in the group to inspire others. And also the point of the group was started over 3 years ago to really bring us to the fact that we don't celebrate each other enough. We don't lift each other up. Our culture, we don't lift each other enough. And that's why others can talk about that way about Haiti. And that's why, in my opinion, Haiti is in the chaos that it's today. It will get better, but we don't know for when and how long it's going to be like that. But when I heard what was said about Haiti, and I said, we got to celebrate each other, we got to lift each other up instead of judging each other. Like, for example, if somebody aspires to do something that is nobody in their environment has done before, they automatically get judged. Instead of saying, go for what you want, or question, having a curious mind, our culture, not everyone, but the culture itself tends to judge and said, why don't you go this path instead? Why don't you go to nursing? You'll always have a job. Why don't you do this? Well, you know what I'm saying? So, and I said, when somebody said something about our country, we have to look in the mirror and then see what can we do to elevate each other and celebrate each other. And then the group started and people joined, and then people are doing that in the group. And then Candid Creoles, this platform, what we're talking about today, started because I wanted to elevate the conversation to a higher level. I wanted to get to meet people, and I wanted to be able for us to hear from people like you, instead of just me posting about people all the time. I wanted to have those conversations so people can identify those who are doing great and celebrate each other again at a different level. And then everybody asked me to have it on YouTube, so it's on YouTube. And eventually this video will be posted there as well. It's taking me a couple of weeks because I am No, no Candid Creole. Doc, I'm doing everything. So it takes me sometimes to post on Facebook, but on YouTube, sometime a week, sometime 2 weeks, and I'm doing my best to post all of the videos there. So I give you all of that little introduction about the group. I know you're a member of the group, but I know you're not actively using Facebook, to ask you your opinion on how we can. I like to get other people's opinion. I like to get other people's input because I know I don't know it all.
Mhm.
And I know you're coming from a contribution point of view, and I'd like to ask your opinion how we can take it to the next level.
So I don't have an answer there purely because I'm not into social media too much. So I don't use Facebook unless I'm trying to figure out whose birthday it is. And so how to elevate it, all I can say is if anyone on that platform or reaches out to you and says, they would like to speak to me for anything, if there's any young adult who thinks that they could get some kind of value from talking to me, feel free to share my contact with them. So how do you elevate it? Maybe just, make the gap to communicate with another smaller. And so just letting you know, at least for me, feel free to, if anyone asks you, feel free to give them my contact information. I'm happy to help, share, provide feedback, whatever it may be,
That's really very generous of you.
Mhm.
Like I said, you are a contributor to the world. Thank you. Thank you. Yes,
Absolutely.
it's if we can share with those who have questions, that's really powerful. That's really a powerful offer that you just made, and I appreciate it. So now I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and the first 2, and I like to end it with a little fun question, a little fun time. So the first question is one word to describe your life. Just one word.
To describe my life?
Yes.
Wow, that's tough.
I
You didn't give me
make
time to
it
prep for
tough.
that?
What?
You didn't give me time to prep for that?
No, I didn't want you
Um,
to prep. I didn't want to tell you to prep. That's why it's otherwise it's not fun.
ladder.
What is it?
Ladder. One word to describe my life, a ladder. There's always room
Okay,
to
now you're
grow.
gonna have to tell me what you mean.
Just a ladder. If one word to describe my life, I could say fun, but life is not always fun, But just a ladder, there's always another step
Ah,
forward, another way to
yeah,
climb, something else to
yeah.
accomplish. Never stay still.
You're climbing.
Yeah.
You're
Again,
climbing.
one word and a few seconds to think about it. That's my word. I could change it if you give me more time, you
No,
know?
I don't want you to change it. It's perfect.
Okay.
It's perfect. It's really perfect. Based on what you just told me, it's absolutely perfect. It's perfect. And and one word, your mom just texted me. I'm trying to understand what he's asking. Maggie, I don't understand. Oh, he already said that he does. He has a girlfriend. Yeah, maybe she missed the beginning. Yes, you're very committed. You're in a very committed relationship, I would say, based on what
Think
I
so.
know.
Hope
Yeah,
you
I
think
think
so
so
too.
too. I think so too. Yes, based on what I know. So now, one word to describe Haiti.
Oh wow. One word to describe Haiti? Intense. It's
You
for
know
it's
what?
just and I said intense. That's the word. Intense.
Yeah, I think I had another guess because I ask everybody those questions at the end of the conversation, as we close the conversation, and I think somebody did mention intense, and it is true. It is the reality of Haiti today. It is the reality of Haiti today.
How
And one,
much I would love to just tell my girlfriend, hey, let's go to Haiti for the weekend.
oh,
Oh, that would be a
yeah,
blast, just to be able to go to the beach and eat great food. It's not
yeah.
possible.
Yeah, so many of us are waiting for that moment. I'm waiting for the moment to take my children to Haiti. And many of us are waiting for that moment to go and invest in Haiti. And what the people who are doing, whatever they're doing now, do not understand, that's what's holding Haiti back, because they don't have anybody coming in to invest, to whether it's investing in as a going on vacation, it's an investment because you're bringing money to the country, or whether to invest in the country, or whether to move to Haiti. So many people want to move as well, but they can't go. They can't go.
It's scary, you know.
It is. It
Once you
is.
move to the States and you see how nice and comfortable it is, you know, to go into uncertainty again is it's tough. So
Yes, it is. It is. It is scary. It is scary. But we have hope, like Daphne just said. We have hope. We have hope. And hope is gonna take us there. Yeah. Hope
absolutely.
and work, hope and action. It's gonna take us there. Like the reason I studied this group is to change the narrative about Haiti and about Haitian. So that's the mission I'm on as well. And then as we are doing that, and I realize we also can inspire each other too. But the real intention behind this is to change the narrative about Haiti and about all Haitian.
And I love what you're doing because there are a lot of successful Haitians out there. We just don't know because no one's talking about them, you know. So we should talk about them more. I agree.
Exactly. 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 So what advice would you give to Haitians, especially perhaps those who live back home in Haiti?
Simply, the advice that I live by is treat those like you want to be treated, right? So just be a good person and the life will be ideally good to you. So
That's beautiful because whatever you put out there comes
mhm.
back to you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever you put out comes back to you multiplied. So you put out good, multiply. You put out bad, good luck. Unfortunately. Yeah. So it was a pleasure again, Terry. I so appreciate this conversation. It was fun, and I love that you have a really good group supporting you. Emily Ann, I can't wait to have a conversation with you as well. You received my call, so I left you a message. So hope to hear from you soon. I'm just enhancing on what Terry just said, and
she's
thank you
gonna kill
again.
me after this. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
having me, and thank you for everyone who joined. I actively told nobody about this because I didn't want you guys to know.
But your mom spread the word.
My
I
my
told your
mom spread
mom.
the word.
Yes,
Yeah.
I told your mom, and that's it. I said spread the word and come and support Terry, and then
Yeah,
she did
she called me. She's like, "Can I share it?" I'm like, "Sure. Go, have at it."
that. That's perfect. That's perfect. Well, thank you, Terry. It was really fun having the conversation with you, and most of all, it was inspirational as well. So
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Like I said, if anyone wants my information, filter out any spam calls, but yeah. Um,
Yes, I will not. Yeah, before I give somebody, I totally appreciate this offer, and I also understand what comes with it. So for somebody to come and ask for your number and for me to give it, it will have to be somebody that I know is really seeking what they say that you can help them with. So
absolutely. Thank you.
okay, thank you. And as always, I like to end peace for Haiti, love for Haiti, and blessing on Haiti.
Absolutely.
I'll see you
Thank
soon.
you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.